lemongrass, Thai chili, a little bit of ginger. Thank you for joining me today. In this video, we'll be looking at a very classic dish from one of the first places I worked at after culinary school. We were taking a look at the shrimp salad from Jean Georges in New York City and remembering the fun we had along the way. I could get in a lot of trouble for sharing this recipe with you. Before we can put our salad together, we need to do some knife work, starting with the most sacred of all things, chives. We measured our worth by the quality of our chives. If our chives were worthless, we too were worthless. Chef Steve would probably rather I take a C-fold and wrap these chives up before I cut them, but he's not working today. I know this doesn't look like much, but we only have like 80 covers today, and I think it's gonna rain or something. So this should be plenty. And make sure we keep our board nice and clean. Let's talk tomatoes. Before we can dice those tomatoes up, we need to skin them. And in order to do that, we need to blanch them. And before we do that, we just want to take our knife and make a little X at the end of the tomato. This will give us something to work with when we go to peel those tomatoes. Here we have some water at a rolling boil. And I'm just going to take our tomatoes and pop those in that water for about 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, take them out of the water. The tomatoes should now peel fairly easily. That's the stuff. Now for our concassé, which is a bit of a misnomer because concassé implies sort of a rough chop and we're doing precise knife work, but anyway. First we are quartering our tomatoes lengthwise. Then we just want to take each one of those quarters and remove the seeds. The seeds are impure. Even though Chef Steve isn't working today, I want to honor his wishes with regards to our tomato quarters. Now, I don't have any C-folds, but this toilet paper should do the trick. Don't they look comfy? Now that our tomato petals are nice and dry, we can cut them up. I'm just going to square them up a little bit so I make sure I have nice even cuts. And first we make just nice long strips. And we just line those strips up. And we let that knife do the work, baby. And again. That's all there is to it. Now we take our tomato dice and we transfer it to a container we can use for service. Now, it certainly wouldn't be a shrimp salad without avocado, would it? So we want a few fans. So I'm just having that avocado like you've probably seen done before. Removing that pit, saving it to plant. And then I make quarters out of those two halves. Get rid of any filth that appears along the way. Now pay attention, this is how you make a pretty avocado fan. It's okay. I'm slicing through the avocado, but not all the way to the tip. This will allow us to fan out our avocado at the end. Make sure you cover your avocado in a wetted sports towel, or in this case a coffee filter, or else the avocados will turn brown. Now let's go talk to the person who's on the 6 a.m. shift. They're going to show us how to make the house dressing, and of course, the beurre blanc. Again, I must stress that this information is absolutely top secret, and by the time you see this video, well, I'll most likely be dead. First, for our beurre blanc, we're gonna need some shallots. Today we're lucky and the PM guys really took care of us and left us with our quart of shallots all nice and peeled. So all we have to do is dice them up. But of course, having peeled shallots ready to go is no guarantee. It's important to remember that. So I've got about a cup of champagne vinegar and a couple tablespoons of those nice minced shallots. We put that in a pot and we bring it up to a boil and let it go. Once our vinegar is reduced down to basically nothing, we're in business. Next we go in with 1/3 cup of heavy whipping cream. Now, real devotees of French cuisine will point out that beurre blanc is not traditionally made with heavy cream. In this case, though, it's a little trick to give us some stability in our beurre blanc. And hey man, I just got out of culinary school, so I need all the insurance I can get. So now we just want to reduce that cream by half, which I know is difficult to judge with such a small volume, but just keep in mind it should look thick, dank, and sticky. Now I kill the heat and I start to go in with my 4 tablespoons of soft butter, and I'm just going to work that in bit by bit with my whisk. So we're looking a little bit thin, and now I'm starting to freak out because I really don't want to get yelled at. But I think as it sits in its container, it'll tighten up just a hair, and it'll be right where we want it. Now we transfer our beurre blanc to a container and keep that in a nice warm water bath somewhere. By the way, don't forget to taste your beurre blanc and give it a nice pinch of salt if it needs it. Now let's talk about house dressing, which calls for truffle juice, but I couldn't find any, and even if I could, I don't think I could bring myself to buy it. So I'm just going to do a duxelle and sort of invent some kind of a truffle juice. So yeah, here I have a whole bunch of button mushrooms all nice and chopped up. I'll put some shallots in a pan with a little bit of oil, and then we'll go in with all those mushrooms. And we cook that until all the moisture's gone, basically. And at the last moment, I'll add just a little bit of minced garlic, killing the heat at this point. And we'll add a little splash of fish sauce for that funky truffle personality. And maybe just a splash of water so it's juicy like truffle juice ought to be. Looks good, tastes good. I'm happy with that substitute. Now let's quickly put this house dressing together, which is super easy. I've just got 2 tablespoons of lemon juice here, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of that beautiful imitation truffle paste that we made, and 6 tablespoons of a nice olive oil, which we simply whisk into the rest of it. And don't forget a generous grinding of black pepper. And we're good to go. Back to the 8 a.m. guy. Now the fish butcher was super busy today, so he didn't have a chance to butterfly any shrimp for us, but that's okay because we know how to do that. I just take those shrimp, lay them flat and bunch them up so their backs are towards the blade of my knife, and then I cut through the back in such a way that the only place where we're cutting completely through is the very center of the shrimp. This allows us to butterfly them out flat. Now, Chef Joey just got in, so my anxiety has just spiked. He's moving quickly from station to station like a phantom, checking in on everyone. Now it's almost time to go on break, but I quickly wanted to show you how to make a nice beurre fondue to cook our shrimp in. So we just have about 4 tablespoons of soft butter and about the same amount of hot water, and a little pinch of salt and a little pinch of cayenne. And we just blend that together and make a little bit of a mess, but we have a nice liquid to cook our shrimp in. So we're back from break and now lunch service has started, and wouldn't you know it, order fire 1 shrimp salad. So here we go, putting our salad mix in a bowl, and we'll leave that be for a minute while we take care of our shrimp. And so the person on fish station takes out those nice butterflied shrimp and puts them in a pan and drizzles them with that nice beurre fondue. And once they're generously coated, we pop those under the salamander, or in this case, into an oven. And those shrimp take barely any time to cook, so let's get this salad together. First I want to just make sure our lettuce greens are coated nicely in our house dressing. That looks nice, but make sure you taste it to make sure. And we want some mushroom matchsticks for our salad, but it doesn't taste as good unless you cut them to order. So first, we're just going to peel that outer layer of our most favorite button mushroom. Then we square off one side of the mushroom so that it sits flat on the cutting board. This allows us to get nice thin sheets of mushroom. Then we just stack those sheets of mushroom, and making little sticks is a breeze. Now we take those sticks and just scatter them over our nicely dressed salad. Now for our Avocado Fan. And I wasn't super happy with how the ones from earlier turned out, so here's a fresh one. Cut the same way, and I just fan it out with my thumbs, so it looks like that. And how about some of those beautiful tomatoes? And lest we forget that herb which we live and die by, the chives. So it's been like 45 seconds and this salad isn't out yet, so Chef Joey's starting to freak out a little bit.
And sometimes Chef Joey, you'd be on the pass and he'd be so fired up and riling with energy that he would jump and he would try and get his head to hit the ceiling. I can still see his little face all scrunched up trying to hit that ceiling.
Oh, how Peter and I trembled. But thank goodness the shrimp are finally cooked, and now they've been passed from the fish station over to Garmo, and now we're just plopping those onto our salad lovingly. And just before that salad goes up to the guest, we just want to hit each one of those shrimp with some of our nice warm beurre blanc, which thankfully has indeed tightened up just a little bit. Now I don't know about you, but I'd say that's one beautiful salad.